Today, Snapchat, the company, we're breaking down the balance sheet, what you should know, what is going on out in the world, and how this company has changed. And I so look forward to doing this a volatile stock breakdown, so let's jump right into this. Welcome back, passive income investors, to Snapchat, this stock breakdown. And man, oh man, this has been one of the most fascinating companies of all time, because not only is this company one of the largest IPOs to happen in the tech industry in a little while, but it's also one of the craziest stories I've ever seen, and the competition and things they've had to come and deal with have been fascinating, considering if you bought it on their IPO, you would have lost literally 60% of your investment. But man, if you bought it at the bottom, you'd be up well over 160%, or almost 160%, which is what mind-blowing. And this has led me to want to talk about the company today, guys, why it's kind of on a run, should you consider buying it, and my own personal thoughts. But we'll start with this quick little thing that I saw here, because this was a CNBC going on about something to do with, we're going to show you the video, but they're just going on about the company not doing well because they missed earnings or something. And then literally just after earnings, it's like every dip you could have bought on this company since pretty much the beginning of the year, any dip you bought, you would have been doing amazing. So let's just listen to this really quick.
Snap shares are down after reporting earnings last night. Julia Borston joins us, taking a look at the price action and what it was, Julia, that caused it to fall after the bell.
Well, Carl, Snap may have beaten expectations for user growth and for top and bottom line results, but today the stock is down over 5%, giving up some of its gains in after hours yesterday as investors weigh the company's guidance, lighter than expected, pointing to a longer path to break even for the company. CEO Evan Spiegel explaining how the...
So I'm going to break more of this down in a bit. There's a lot that I want to go over, so I don't want to spend too much time listening to how CNBC thinks of Snapchat. But I just think it's funny that any dip you could have bought, you would have been killing it right now. But let's get into the funner stuff of this company. But the news, the website, we're going to break the balance sheet down and everything else in between. But I think it's funny that when you look Snapchat news, the only thing anyone's talking about still on these platforms are the pedophile problems that prompts summer safety warnings, because again, there's this sickening thing going on where like gymnastic girls or just people outside wearing a little bit less clothing are being kind of gawked at in a really disgusting way that has to do with social media. I'm just kind of shocked that's still going on. Snapchat Google service interrupted by network. And like, there's just no news that's groundbreaking to say why the stock is on a run. So I keep finding it more and more interesting. The more I look into this company, the more I had to make a video about it. So I want to take a quick peek at their website before we get into too much other stuff. If we go into Snapchat here, their website is very straightforward. Snap is a camera company. We believe that reinventing the camera represents our greatest opportunity to improve the way people live and communicate. This is the weirdest statement of any social media platform ever, and I can't believe they're still sticking with this idea of being this camera company. And again, I'm going to explain more about that as well in a little bit, but let's just look at their website overall. So you've got what I usually like, but not particularly in this manner, is the straightforward website of careers, news, and investors. They're like, we're the app. Snapchat is an app. We're not going to make a separate web page for it. We're just going to make a really basic, straightforward thing. And we end up with this, which is funny because we'll top over the news here, guys. And the news videos are absolutely hilarious, like this one here. They literally made an 11-second video about how Android loves Snapchat. And I think that's pretty funny. And as we keep scrolling down, here's another one introducing Snap Games. Snap Games. I thought this was a camera company. Anyways, take a quick listen. That's right. Snap has now become a game company. So has Apple. So has Disney. Actually, pretty much every company under the sun wants to be making video games. Kind of interesting, in my personal opinion. The news is hilarious that they're becoming somewhat of a video game company as well. But let's just keep scrolling through the website. If we go into the investor relations, this is where things start getting really interesting. And I absolutely hate their investor relation page. It's very confusing. It's hard to kind of find the basic stuff, and it's just buried. It's not laid out in a manner that is appealing to an individual that's just looking into the company, because you have to dig for a little while to find anything. And we can find their webcast, a thing like that. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have like a basic sheet of just like an upcoming presentation. I like when people put it together in like a presentation, like something you could print off and look at. But in here, they really only have earnings slides and essentially the webcast, which we're going to go over in a sec as well. And you can come in here and you can find like their basic 8Ks that aren't really organized in a good manner. I don't like websites that jam all this crap in here when you're trying to look for like dead basic information. But if we look at their Q1 and they're just general of 2019 here, guys, and some of the interesting things going on. This is a company that's burning capital like there's absolutely no tomorrow. Not that they can't keep up with it, but it's just the fact that they're losing. Look at operating loss, 316. I think that's in the millions, guys. I'm pretty sure all this is in the millions. Are we not talking about? Yeah, okay. So subsequently to 190 million. This is a lot of money we're talking about here, guys. We're not talking about billions, but we're still talking about burning an insane amount of capital, considering their revenues are just enough to cover the operating losses. Clearly, they're operating within like a $4 million range, and their net loss, the net loss is just massive, guys. But so you can see they got about 4 million left over after the net losses, which is just ridiculous. But again, after the adjusted EBITDA, we're looking at about 123 million. I like saying that in a weird way. But non-GAAP diluted not to loss per share is about 10 cents, or net loss per share is about 10 cents, guys, which is not great. It's not terrible, but it's certainly not great. But at least they're showing a decent, healthy amount of revenue. But we're not talking Facebook money yet here, obviously. Facebook money hasn't even come close to what these guys are pulling in, which is kind of sad. But I want to go into, before I break down their books any farther, because there's nothing really interesting here. It's just a company burning capital, trying to keep up with the competition. It kind of reminds me of, what is the competition? We had Facebook, we had MySpace, we had MSN chat. Like, there's been all these things that have just came and gone, and the only ones that are surviving right now really are Facebook and YouTube, Google. And, those are just about it, because they own Instagram, like all the major platforms like YouTube. And yet here we are left with Snapchat trying to survive, playing in the lower end of this. But I want to show you some of the stuff that I found super, super interesting from their Snapchat Partner Summit. The Partner Summit, guys. Let me just show you a few things that I found interesting in here. I've kind of highlighted parts of this video we're just going to take a quick peek at as well.
Snapchat now reaches nearly 75% of all 13 to 34-year-olds, and we reach 90% of 13 to 24-year-olds. In fact, we reach more 13 to 24-year-olds than Facebook or Instagram in the United States, the UK, France, Canada, and Australia.
So, let me know in the comment section below, do you actually use Snapchat? Because I personally do not. I know very few people that actually use it. Usually it's the younger generation, but even they now, I find, are more dominant toward Instagram. Because again, obviously Snapchat had to compete because they wouldn't sell it to Facebook, which honestly, looking at their stock, they would have been better off just selling out to the good old Facebook when they got offered. I think it would have been brilliant. And these kids are so young. They're like the same age I am. They're like in their 20s. It's ridiculous. I can't remember exactly when they got offered to be bought out by Facebook. Man, it was in the past, and I just remember the drama that was going on with this company back then. And they're like, no, we're going to IPO, and they became like multi-billionaires, and now they've shed off quite a large amount of that. But it's coming back, baby. It's coming back. So let's keep looking here and see. I'll show you the next thing I found really interesting.
Lenses help us talk to one another and play with our friends. They transform us into our favorite characters, transport us to fantastic worlds, and allow us to experience magic anywhere.
So this, in my opinion, is something that like Pinterest is trying to get back into, which is these really quick, weird videos that pretty much is what made Snapchat as famous as it was just basically these overlay, which is why they call themselves a quote unquote camera company. But we're going to do video games now. We're going to do stories, all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know. I just think it's odd that they still continue to brand themselves as this kind of camera company. And this is the stuff that they've really gotten famous on, but now they realize that they might be peaking out somewhere around there. So they're going to start migrating elsewhere. And I really, really need to know, are you guys using Snapchat? And last but not least, the thing that I touched on already once was the games. So let me just show you this one more quick time, guys. This is the last little video we're going to take a peek at in this summit.
Now, why games? Because games are fun. I mean, who doesn't love games? Last year, mobile gaming was a $77 billion industry. That's a whole lot of fun. Today, there are hundreds of thousands of games available for our phones. But interestingly, with all of those games, there aren't many that make it easy for friends to play together. We wanted to build something that makes us feel like we're playing a board game with family over a long holiday weekend. Something that makes us feel like we're sitting with friends, controllers in hand, looking at the same screen. Oh, hey, that's me. We love these sorts of games because they give us an excuse to hang out, laugh, and make memories together. Unfortunately, these games are hard to find on mobile. There's way too much friction. It's hard to get everybody to install the same game, then find friends to play with, and it's hard to chat. So even if you're playing together, it doesn't really feel like you're hanging out. Snapchat has the right ingredients to break down these barriers. Snapchat can make playing games with friends incredibly fast and fun. So today, we're introducing our first Snap game, Bitmoji Party.
This is like the most cringiest thing I've seen in so long, guys. I don't even know where to begin with this. Oh my god. Aside from his build up to being like, not like Fortnite or these huge games that everyone's dying to get home and play, even on their mobile phones these days, and the fact that you could just add a friend at the click of a button and be playing with them, and the fact that Google wants to get into like live streaming video games, we're gonna step back in like a decade ago and that's right, Wii Sports, and you can make your Mii's the best thing ever, and you can play all these things together with your friends. We're gonna make it easier now than ever to play with your other Wii friends. I don't know, it just seems so over the top cringy to me that something that has nothing to do with video games is trying to get into that piece of the $70 billion pie. Another thing that I hate about companies, guys, is when they throw those arbitrary numbers around like the marijuana industry does all the time. Marijuana stocks are always like, oh, it's a $50 billion, $100 billion industry, and we just want to capture like 10% of that. And blah, 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 blah. It's all hearsay, guys. Maybe watch. I don't want to watch anymore. I don't like the fact that Snapchat thinks they're going to get anywhere with video games, let alone, again, let me know. Do you even use Snapchat? Who the hell is using Snapchat? I want to know, because they're saying it's to younger kids, but I don't think they are as much as they think they are. Just because, like I said, everyone seems to be using Instagram. Gary V, like there's just no one really talks about join me on Snapchat anymore. It's not a thing that pops up in anybody's feed where it's like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. What else is there? There's so many. There's Twitch, and then all of a sudden, do you ever hear Snapchat? No, because no one's using it. How about this? I just want to break down the last little bit here for you guys, which we're just going to look at their revenues and what's going on here. If we go into their basic balance sheet, the thing that I found most impressive, if we can get this to load again. So aside from the fact that we already know that they are losing incredibly large amounts of money, nothing crazy compared to their income, but if we take a look, the thing that I found most impressive was they have a total assets of about $2.7 billion with a total liabilities of about $403 million. That number is so differentiating to me. I'm honestly kind of shocked that they have that debt to asset ratio. That's kind of obscure for a company like this, to be honest. So I'm guessing that most of their assets are probably going to come into a little bit of real estate, and probably most of their cash assets they have lying around. So if we take a quick peek at their cash flow, guys, this is where we can see the stagnating going on from 2017 to 2018. We had like nominal growth. Clearly, even in the first earnings here, it wasn't that great because they're not, I don't think they're growing at a big pace anymore. It's not like there's new Snapchat users coming in all the time, but we can see that there hasn't been a lot going on since 2016. This company I still think should have sold out to Facebook when they had the time, or I hope some of these two guys sold off some of their shares at the IPO, because man, they would have made a killing. Long term though, guys, just looking over their books real quick, if we take a look at their cash flow and like income statements, while total revenues apparently has been doing pretty good, but when we look at the income before depreciation, amortization, I can't even say that right, it has come down a lot. Like the numbers are kind of fudgy because, you know, it's a new company still, they're not profitable yet. Their books are absolutely nothing coming close to Facebook. Again, this company's never been able to catch up. They haven't been able to you know, take control of the advertising in the way that Facebook, Instagram, you know, even Google and YouTube have, which is a shame because we thought they were going to launch way faster than they did, and they've just been stagnating, and they haven't been able. And again, you're also talking about the younger the generation, the harder they are to advertise to, because younger generation people, guys, just don't have money. So is this a market you really want to be capturing, like this lower end market? Because they're saying that, oh, we're capturing most of the kids between this age and this age. Yeah, but those aren't the people that really have the money, whereas Facebook is a bit of an older generation. YouTube is more of the millennials, like my generation. Well, I guess millennials are still Snapchat too. But essentially people that seem to have money, they're a little bit older, and they're able to like actually buy the ads that are being advertised to them. Whereas with Snapchat, I don't know how they're going to utilize that properly when they're advertising to kids mostly. And now that the fact that they're trying to evolve into games and become this multimedia brand like Apple and everyone else is doing, they're just doing it without as much capital funding, and I just don't think they're going to do a good job of it, to be honest. It's just my personal opinion. I don't like the company. It seems, I don't want to be mean. I got a bunch of words that I don't think would be politically correct for me to say, so I'm not going to say them. But just the website, it just, we're camera. If I saw this, if I went on here, it says Snap Inc. is a camera company, and I saw this, and I had no idea what Snapchat was, I would automatically presume, I'd be like, where's the products? What kind of cameras do they sell? We believe in reinventing the camera and represents our opportunity to improve the way people live and communicate. Like the whole branding of this today, I think, is just terrible. I think they had a huge chance back in the day, and they flopped on it hard, and they've just never been able to bring it quite back yet. And now we're finally starting to see what could be a turnaround story, but you know, just like all the other companies, guys, I think they're just going to be something like a LinkedIn, like they're just going to be a really small, like Pinterest, like they're just going to be one of these things that's here, but it's just never going to be huge. Now, huge is a perspective, considering it's already a $17 billion company, and at its IPO, it was well over like 30 or 40 billion. Again, huge is a hard thing to define, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of the stock. I'm not a fan of the way the company's ran. I'm not a fan of the website. I'm not a fan of the books. There's just better companies, in my opinion, you could own, especially ones that pay dividends. You can let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has just been a quick, brief overview of this company, and basically what's going on just with their, you know, we're not getting anywhere with Snapchat. It's one of these companies that's all hype but no growth. And I honestly, if I'm looking out in the future, I don't know exactly where they're going. You never know. Companies can change and do incredible things. I just honestly, in my perspective, 10 years from now, Snap's going to be something that's either going to be bottom barrel or non-existent. And again, you can batter me that in the comment section below. Let me know. I think Snap's more of a trade stock, because again, lately, even if you go back about a year and a half, the movements you were having were wild enough that you could play the volatility. So I think the stock's better just to play the dips, and maybe even a short on the pops, but that's up to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick breakdown of Snapchat. I haven't done a breakdown in a little while, so I thought this would be fun. So stay cool, stay awesome, guys. I look forward to chatting to you real soon.